Sabersource fans, so we're gonna do a second review of the Ultimateworks Qui-Gon Jinn hilt. Now we have already installed a sound card here. We actually installed a Prizm 5.1 sound card with this hilt, and we've also put in an RGB LED here, a Tri-Cree RGB LED here. Now, for those who haven't seen our first review of the empty hilt, and if you're watching from YouTube, you can actually click somewhere right here to check the review. If you're watching from Facebook, you can actually look at the comment section and we'll put in the link down below. Okay, so let's get on to it. Short review for the Qui-Gon Jinn hilt. No, this actually comes empty from Ultimateworks. This is your complete hilt with the deep grooves. So this is fairly accurate of the movie, and it comes with a blade plug as well to plug in here. Yeah, so I've removed the retention screw so it will be easier. It also comes with a CoverTech wheel which actually secures the shroud, the metal shroud here, wherein the card sits inside here. I will not open it anymore because it's quite difficult, or it's quite complex when you remove it. But suffice to say that the install of the card and the wirings are all here behind this metal shroud, and there's where we installed the sound card. Now, with this commission, what have we done? As mentioned earlier, we put in a Prizm 5.1 sound card for Plecter Labs. If you're not familiar with Plecter Labs, you can find them you can Google Plecter Labs, or you can actually search them on Facebook. They're actually one of the more premium companies when it comes to sound cards, especially for lightsabers, and they're based in Europe, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, so the Prizm 5.1 sound card is a mid-range sound card, which actually houses around 6 sound fonts. You can put 6 sound fonts in there. It actually is more suitable for RGB setup, meaning you can set up basically infinite colors of what mixing you want in terms of RGB. It can hold up to 9 colors inside here, so you can switch it on the fly as well. So yeah, so that's the basic overview of what we have put in here in terms of the Qui-Gon Jinn. We've also put the recharge port in here. The speakers are also inside here. The battery that we use is an 18500 lithium-ion rechargeable battery, which is a bit shorter than your regular 18650 rechargeable battery, because I wanted more of a deeper blade socket. Since the battery is housed somewhere here, if you put in a longer battery, the blade depth would be shallow. So I put an 18500, although it's a smaller capacity, at least you can have that security when your blade is in there, and you can pretty much dual with this hilt. So that's the overview of the hilt. What buttons does it use? It actually uses two switches. So it's one here at the front. This is your main ignition switch, and there's an auxiliary switch here behind, so you can actually do some effects with it, which I will show you around later. So let's try to fire it up. To show you how it works. So I have a blade here. I'll just put in. Yeah. So I will not put a retention. I will not put a retention screw first, so it will be easier to maneuver. When it's in idle state, it actually goes into deep sleep mode. So to activate it, you press either the ignition switch or the auxiliary switch behind. It will boot it up. Okay, so there's the sound font. It's actually on the gray meat sound font right now. The Plecter Labs has the Prizm has 3 default sound fonts: the light meat, the gray meat, and the dark meat sound fonts. So we're now on the gray meat sound fonts, and it's now activated. So time to fire it up. So it's on the cyan configuration. For particular for this sound font, so it has your regular swing sounds as well. Yeah. I set the sensitivity a bit low, no, so you have to really swing it hard to get sensitivity. But you can actually, the good thing about the Plecter Labs Prizm 5.1 is you can actually modify a lot of settings in the soundboard, unlike the ones that you see for the Hitorens or for even the Skylar series. This one is more customizable in terms of what you want to put in here. Even the colors you can pretty much tweak into how much of a blue, for example, you want, how much of a purple you want. So it's very customizable. Even again, the sound fonts you can change, the swing sensitivity you can change. There's also a flicker, and if you notice the flicker, there's also a flicker settings inside, which I will not go through. It will take us 2 days just to talk about that. But suffice to say, if you are more of an advanced person and you want to tweak a lot of settings on your sabers, this is the way to go. I just wanted to pop in the blade so you can see the color. So it also has flash on flash. Yeah, so that's your regular flash on flash. And then there's your lockup. You actually use the momentary switch for the lockup settings. So what's the other thing that's cool about the Prizm 5.1? It's what you call a blaster block. So if you've watched the movie, any Star Wars movie, you can see that Jedi's or the Sith can block blaster fire, you know. So this actually mimics how you do a blaster block as well. So if you push the momentary switch, if you push the auxiliary switch once very quick, it will simulate a blaster block. So for example, yeah, so that's the cool thing about it. I know it's a little bit geeky, but if you're more into the cosplaying or into performances, that's actually something very nice to do. No, you can actually modify as well the delay of the blaster block in milliseconds. If you go to the settings and you pull out, there's an SD card actually inside of the soundboard, so you can actually modify how long the blaster should be really affecting you. So that's very cool for me. Okay, now to switch to the different sound fonts, what you do is you press the auxiliary switch for around 2 seconds, then you'll go to the it will alert you that the sound font has switched. So example, okay, so you have switched to the dark meat sound font, and per sound font you can configure what color it is. You can configure the shimmer, you can configure the flash on flash color as well. Even the delay of the blaster block, you can do that. So for example, this on the red configuration, this is more of a Sith sound, so you still get the flash on flash, you can still get the lockup, and you get a blaster block. So I've set the blaster block here to very short, meaning it's almost instantaneous of a blaster block. So that's the dark meat sound font. Then we go to the light meat sound font. I press again the auxiliary switch. There you go. Then you turn it on. So we go to the Qui-Gon Jinn green. So if you want more of a canon configuration, Qui-Gon Jinn actually has a green lightsaber. So again, same features, flash on flash, and you have your lock up, and you have your blaster block. Yeah. Okay, so that's very nice. What I wanted to show you actually next, I'll just put it back in the grenade sound font. There's actually what you call a force effect. If you want to simulate a sound when you do a force effect, you can actually achieve it with the Prizm 5.1. Let me demo it for you. I'll remove the blade because it might fly, you know. So for you to achieve that force effect, if you want, for example, if you want to simulate a force push or a force pull, what you do with your saber, the saber will assist you, is you hold the auxiliary switch, then swing the lightsaber. So I'll try to simulate it here. So let's not, hopefully I will not hit something. So you press the auxiliary switch. I don't know if you heard that. One more time. Yeah. So that's the sound for the force effect. So if you want more to do it on a performance basis, so basically you swing it, you hold the auxiliary switch and you swing it. Yeah. So like that. So it's like you're force pushing. So that's, again, sorry for the geekiness, but that's one of the things I like about the Prizm soundboard. Again, one more thing, last one, actually last two. No? You can change the colors on the fly. So how to do that? You actually push the ignition switch and the auxiliary switch at the same time, so you can change the colors. So from the cyan configuration, we're now to the green, so more of a lime, and more of a yellow, going to orange, now going to red. And as mentioned, these colors are definable. You can define it when you access the SD card in the soundboard. So there's the colors are preset, but you need to preset them yourself if you want it. This is on the by default. It actually has already presets of colors that you can use. Now, what if you don't want you don't want the sounds to be present? You can actually have an ignition wherein it's gonna be mute on the go. How do you achieve that? Same thing when you change the color on an off state. You press it at the same time, then you have a mute. You have your mute function. So it still has a flash on clash, no? Sorry. There you go. So still has a flash on clash, and also still do the blaster block effects, etc., etc. But again, it's on mute. So that's the features of this hilt. It's more of a review of the Prizm soundboard rather than the Qui-Gon Jinn hilt, because we've already done that. So pros and cons of this saber. Because of the how it was designed, the installation is a little bit cramped inside of here. So for more experienced installers, you would need to very, very much optimize how you wire this thing, so that you will achieve better, how you would properly install it. And in terms of putting in a chassis, it's not a cylindrical slot in here, so it's more of a flat plane. So putting a chassis would be a challenge for us. One more thing, the recharge port. When we did the commission of this one, the recharge port actually hits the speakers, because we had a bass speaker before, which a little bit thicker. The recharge port actually hits the speaker, which has a slight problem. But we've managed to fix that by putting it a slimmer speaker. Although we sacrifice some of the base effect, but again, that's one of the things that may need to be improved when we release a second version, or actually this is already in version 3 when release of version 4 of the Qui-Gon Jinn hilt. And of course, it's an 18500 battery, which means that the capacity is very small. This will not be as long as your regular 18650 powered batteries or powered lightsabers when you go to cons. So you really need to be very picky when you want to do cosplays with this one, because the battery will not last you the whole day. So aside from that, I really like the deep grooves here. I've shown this to some people. They said that the deep grooves sometimes is you get very conscious when you hold this part, but for me, actually, I like it. I treat it as a grip, so I like how it handles. One more thing, the tactile switch here, you would need to put something in between the tactile switch and the cover so that you will have that pressing effect. Again, it's something that you would need to in Tagalog, you need discarte, or you need to make a way for it not to be loose. So again, that's some of the that's my impression of this saber. But again, on the Prizm setup, I like it very much, and I'm going to play with this for a very long time. So there you have it. The review is quite long, I know, but again, there's a lot to be covered here. I covered the saber and the Prizm effects, or the Prizm functions as well. So there you have it. So thank you for watching. Keep subscribing to our Facebook page. You can also find us in Instagram. You can also watch us on YouTube. Hopefully you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll be putting a lot of contents there as well. And so there you have it. So thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.